cigar man. I'm a cigar man. Biggie, oh baby, you know I'm smoking. Cigar like a woman, round but not too firm. Even though it's smoking slow, fire'll get you burned. I'm a cigar man. Billy, oh honey, you know you got me smoking. Smoke them when they're short, smoke them when they're long. I like them when they're mellow, love them when they're strong. I'm a cigar man. Biggie, oh baby, you got me smoking.
Stay on target.
All right. Hello again, and welcome to another exciting episode of Smoking Salads. I'm your host, John Hill. To my left of me is Nick Woods, and we have noticed we are dickless tonight. I mean, Deanless tonight.
No, I think dickless is the right way to go.
So, no dickless tonight. So, tonight, on tonight's show, we are once again going to try a different Fatola of the Alec Bradley's Smoking Salads. The Magic Toast. So it's funny because the first time that we had tried this cigar, we were without dickless. And so I said, all right, I'm going to bring it back because, he really likes this cigar. And tonight, at the last minute, he said, can't make it. So that's his loss. So we're going to be a little bit loose tonight in terms of the tasters. We're going to talk about what is we taste, but we're not going to go into the history and the manufacturing and what goes in the cigar.
I did do a little research, in the last 2 minutes. I did a little research on the Magic Toast. So if we want to talk about the Magic Toast, we can.
And of course, the Caol Ila. That is what we're drinking tonight. Caol Ila. It's very, very close to a Lagavulin. It is an Islay, and it is peaty and smoky and really, really good. If you've never heard of it before, I know you can get shots of it at the Highland Stillhouse and at Kells. There's probably a few other places.
Oh man, I have not been to Stillhouse, the one in Oregon City. Mm-hmm. Oh gosh, if you haven't been to the Stillhouse off of 99 in Oregon City, it's an experience. You have got to go. They have a menu that's like 4 or 5 pages long of just Scotch whiskeys.
Oh, they probably have, I don't want to say twice what Kells has, but it's bigger. They have a separate building warehousing these things. And it's small. You can smoke cigars out on their patio in the summertime. It's really nice. Got a nice view of the river, right outside their doors there.
So on YouTube, oh, by the way, you guys are going to have fun with this. Maybe, actually, I'm not going to say anything. We'll see if you figure it out. But on YouTube, Dave says that he is drinking Russell's 10-year and smoking the Rocky Patel Sun-Grown Maduro box press. And he also says, cheers from Cold Butt Medford.
Cold Butt Medford.
And Eric's is smoking the Flathead 660, and he says the reason why Dean's actually not here is because he's still butthurt that he lost the sweater contest.
Yeah, maybe. I always assumed that it was some masturbation error went horribly wrong.
Probably
an accident. Pulled a little bit too much. I don't know. Maybe got some super glue instead of lubricant or something. I don't know.
Maybe. Ryan is the only one watching, and he's so lonely. But that's okay. He's got a sheep in the lounge. It's okay.
So those of you in the audience, you've been telling us what you're smoking and drinking. Good job. For those of you that have not, please do. And please share as much as possible. And give me your advice. Why do you think Dean is missing tonight?
Yeah, that's a good one.
What's the real story?
What's the real story?
What's the real story?
You tell us.
That's right. So, with that...
Before we do that, I do want to get this out of the way. I'm going to pull my Dean card here. I did go to the game. I did go to the Timbers Championship game on Saturday.
Well, they were playing Saturday?
Oh, yeah, they were playing it Saturday. It was a pretty big game.
I hadn't heard.
Oh, yeah, no, you probably didn't because you don't like sports.
Yeah, they probably lost, though.
Oh, you know what? They did. But you know what? It was one hell of a game. I was in the rain and wind from 7:30 in the morning until 3:30 in the afternoon. Torrential downpour, cats and dogs. It was going sideways.
And then you made it over here.
And then I made it over. Oh yeah, and then we had the Christmas party here for the local cigar club, and whew, man, that was a crazy party too.
But you did leave somewhat early.
Midnight.
Early. Didn't shut down till 3.
Okay.
3. You're usually the last one to leave.
So, yeah, this is true. But, yeah, no, like, for those that didn't watch it, up until literally the last second, everyone thought the Timbers were going to lose in regulation. Last second, Timbers made a goal, and for like 3 or 4 seconds, I could not hear because the sound that came from the crowd was deafening. It felt like if you ever see those movies where there's a big flash and then the character's kind of disoriented for a little bit. That's the feeling I got from the sound. Oh my gosh, it was insane. But yes, the Timbers lost in penalty kicks, but they made it into a game. Nobody thought that they would ever get that far. So I was proud of my guys.
As you all know on the show, I'm not a real big sports fan. However, I do like hockey, so go Kraken. So I can appreciate...
Crack-a-lackin'?
Go Crack-a-laccas.
Crack-a-laccas.
Crack-a-ass crackers. I do appreciate when things go into double overtime, and I mean it's a tense game. Yeah, but you know, watching it on TV versus being there.
Yeah.
If I'm going to go watch a sporting event, it's going to be live because there's a lot more going on.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a lot more fun.
Well, not only that, you get engulfed into the atmosphere. Watching soccer is boring. I'm an avid soccer watcher and player, and I still fall asleep to some games. Like, I highly recommend for anybody that's like, oh, soccer's boring, blah, blah, blah. Let me take you to a Timbers game, a really good, like Sounders, Vancouver Whitecap, LA, maybe when New York City comes back into town because we're going to want some revenge. But let me take you to a Timbers game, have you sit in the Army.
So you play soccer?
I've played since I was 6.
Go get your soccer ball. Let's see some moves.
You mean the soccer ball that's missing?
Oh, much of a soccer player are you? You can't even keep track of your own balls.
I have an entire bag in the back of my car. I'm fine.
You're a sack sitting right here in front of us.
Jeff Plummer, who is in our audience, Jiffy Jeff, says that he is smoking the Davidoff Churchill limited edition and drinking the Glenlivet 15 French Oak Reserve.
Good combination.
And actually, Jiffy Jeff won the Davidoff cigar at the Christmas party on Saturday.
Yeah, Christmas party was a lot of fun. We had singing, we had dancing, we had, general rowdy behavior.
we had thanks to a big shout out to Eric's DeProfio and his wife Shirley, who came up with the most, what's the word? The most unique version of the 12 Days of Christmas that you could ever come up with.
Yeah, you have to be involved in the club to really get it. But
right.
We have a video.
Right.
Maybe we'll show it one of these days. But it was good fun. Everybody had a great time. So we here at the OCA Lounge love throwing parties for folks. So.
And the parties are usually really, really good, and there's always a great turnout.
So yeah.
So what are we smoking again?
This is Alec Bradley's Magic Toast.
So
on the nose, before it's lit, I got the typical barn funk. That's the primary, but you do get a little of the spice, and you do get a little of kind of chocolate notes to it
I was
on the
going to
nose.
say, for me, I didn't really get the spice, but I definitely got a sweet note. I couldn't pick out if it was chocolate or maybe it was like maybe like an apricot or
Yeah,
something.
it's a sweet. I attributed it to chocolate, but yeah, it could be just whatever's going through your brain that day. Depends on what you eat, depends what you're drinking, but it's a sweetness to it.
Right. And
Now-
so in the limited time that I had, I did find a review that said that this is so following the footsteps of top-rated smokes like the 96-rated Alec Bradley Prensado and the 94-rated Alec Bradley Family Blend, brand founder Alan Rubin delivers Magic Toast. This small batch Honduran drafted gem. Earthquake!
Why, are you having a hard time reading?
No, not really. Here, let me just do this. The small batch Honduran drafted gem was named to commemorate a toast, a cheers to the fellas at Alec Bradley, shared with a few whiskeys in hand as they completed the cigar's blend. It's a medium-bodied profile of cocoa, wood, and cinnamon is drawn from a recipe of Nicaraguan and Honduran long fillers beneath an oily reddish-brown Honduran wrapper leaf. So, aside from the Nicaraguan long filler, you could almost call this a Honduran puro.
Almost. Yeah, it's just I think that Nicaraguan adds a little bit of the strength and that little pepper twinge when you retrohale it. Right?
Yeah, there's a little bit of pepper on it.
But yeah, there's definitely notes of cinnamon, cocoa. I'm gonna have to experience this again. Risking dead air to do it.
So while you do that, Emma White, welcome to the show. It's a new face that we haven't seen. Dave says that Dean is on strike from smoking salads until the union gets more money from John. He found out he could make $17.25 an hour at Arby's and started tonight. Oh wait, no, just kidding. Dave got a text. He says he got caught eating 4 beef and cheddars in the bathroom. He will be on the show next week.
Yeah, there's no destroying my bathrooms. So.
And Ryan, who is trying to go under the name of the Oregon Outdoor Photography, he's drinking Whistle Pig 10-year rye, and he's smoking a Señoral Maduro by Jose Blanco.
I'm sorry, Ryan Poltz
Ryan Poltz.
is drinking what?
Whistle Pig 10-year rye.
I've not heard of that flavor from Gatorade before.
Yep. No, Ryan, I'm noticing is realizing that you can only get so much out of Gatorade. And even if you change the flavors of Gatorade, you're still only getting so much.
Did we finally break you? Pick on you enough for drinking Gatorade? Now, you and I are coming up to a dry January.
We are coming up to a dry
So
January.
we're going to have to take some pointers from Ryan as to which Gatorades might go well.
You know,
with
there's
some,
a lot of
some
things I'll
cigars.
take from Ryan. It ain't pointers. It won't be pointers.
Especially not the big 3-foot pointer in his backyard.
Yeah, right. It's all dry and crusty. It's just disgusting.
Split. Got to lubricate that thing once in a while.
Yeah, Ryan. Jeez. Ryan's migrated to the sheep aspect of things, so we'll leave it at that.
Nice. So what is that thing? Oh, okay, you've already moved off of it. So said enough about the cigar. The
Yeah,
background?
that was basically that's all I could basically find. It was basically everything but the long filler is Honduran, and there is a Nicaraguan long filler in the cigar, and then that was the only site that I found that gave us any tasting notes of any kind.
You know, a lot of times we smoke a lot of the cigars, and we get nerdy on this show sometimes because we want to provide some interesting information for folks. You can always look it up. We just try to do that for you. But tonight it's been crazy holiday season, crazy work time. So we'd smoked a cigar before, so I got a lot lazy about it tonight. I'm just mellow John. I'm not going to be focused in on any one thing.
I was going to say, for those that haven't been here live, and there's a little bit of a process that goes into making the show startable. So,
usually it involves whips and me whipping the team into shape and
or you
do this.
Well,
Don't
no,
do that.
No, it's more we whip you to get it going because you won't let us touch the computer. John, get it right. No, but John had some technical difficulties to start before the show started, and
Yep, but we got it up on time.
yeah, we did.
So,
we did.
But with only one person sharing, we let it the introduction go, another minute longer. So if those of you were watching at 2 minutes to 7 and going, how long is this going to go on? It doesn't normally go to near the end of the song. We went there because we're trying to share out as much as possible.
Oh, I found tasting notes for what we're drinking. Sweet.
Excellent. So, what are we drinking? The Caol Ila. This is a Scotland whiskey. It is from the Islay region. So, as you'd expect, this little bad boy's got some peatiness and some smokiness and some sweetness to it. And we're going to nose it and taste it and tell you all about it. But if you've never had it, I highly recommend it, especially if you're a fan of Lagavulin, Ardbeg, Lafroig. This is more characteristic of what you'll get from a Lagavulin. It is smoky and peaty, but not to the extent that Lafroig and some Ardbegs can be.
Right.
So, I'm going to pour the glass.
While you do that, I will bring up the tasting notes. So, the quote-unquote vital status is it is 86 proof. It's 100% malted barley.
Nice glass.
Oh, I know.
Where'd you get that from?
No.
Oh, it's Dickless's glass.
Yeah, I figured that since he's not here, we'd pay tribute by using his glass, and because that's how he's really known on the show. It's because of his glass. But yeah, it's 100% malted barley, minimum 12 years old. Retail says it's about $50 to $70.
Unless you live in the state of Washington.
Yeah, right.
Then it's $2,000 of the taxes.
Right. They said the appearance is creamy yellow and straw. I can kind of see the straw color.
Yeah, it's
like
definitely
like
a straw.
Fresh.
I've got a white light blasting in my eye, so it's
Good. Can't see.
to look at it.
Look at it from the side.
It's a golden hue. So
It looks like the sun.
but you know it's been aged.
Yep.
So
Num
smell
num
the
noises.
smokiness, the sweet,
Oh, yeah.
sweet peat smoke right on the nose. That's the primary characteristic. But I can smell some like a lemony kind of a zest to it.
Yeah, I'm getting a citrus. I'm not sure if it's of a lemon, but I can definitely I'm getting a citrus. Maybe a lime.
Yeah, it smells more lemony to me, but I know that during one of our whiskey tasting events that we had an Ardbeg. We paired it with a white chocolate lemon bonbon because I was told to do that. And I'm like, really? That doesn't sound right. That went so fast.
Yeah.
And I should have just grabbed some just to pair it with the story that I just said. It's amazing. It pulls out this sea saltiness and seaweed and,
Very nice.
just all kinds of sweet flavors and stuff. It's
So
just
on the
crazy.
nose, it says that it's peaty and fresh, and then this is where it gets kind of weird. It says salty green vegetables or seaweed with a slight sweetness akin to honeydew melon. And this is where I'm like, you know what? I'm glad you picked this because this definitely has Dean in it. It's a hint of green nuts.
Green nuts.
Green nuts.
Unused green nuts.
No, green nuts, which is worse than blue balls.
Yeah, because now they're all shriveled up.
Don't make me choke.
That's what Dean said. All right, swirly the girly.
Swirly the
and
girly.
Let's give a cheers. Cheers to all of you out there for watching the show.
Cheers to
Thanks
Dean
for watching.
wearing the apron in the kitchen.
That's right. Oh, by the way, Dean. Hey, man, these are what pants look like. In all its glory. You should try to put some on sometime.
Really quick on YouTube, Eric's said a lot of stuff. Oh, he was calling because we're giving shit to Gatorade. He called it Haterade. Ryan said that before he started drinking, he drank 2 bottles of he drank 2 bottles already of the Glacier Cherry, and says it goes great with a cigar. So I guess we can try that. Let's see what else. Ryan says also tequila in lemon lime Gatorade is, and he put a fire emoji, aka as the youngins say, lit. Oh, that's right. Big shout out to Chris Wilson. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Chris Wilson.
The Christmas song for the Christmas party was Chris's idea, and Eric's and Shirley just came up with the lyrics. But Chris was like, hey, here, let's do the 12 Days of Christmas, but make it club associated.
Yeah, we might, our voices might go out a little bit. We smoked about 10 cigars each before we got on the show. Thanks, Chris Wilson. So those cigars you left here the other night, perfect before the show start. It was excellent.
Man,
Nice
and
collection
the
of
stuff,
them.
and I was gonna say the stuff that he won at the party was some primo cigars. Dave says he has a question for the Salads crew. What is the best material for a nice smoking jacket that will not absorb smoke or burn by falling ash?
Well, the whole purpose of the jacket is actually to prevent the ash from burning your clothes. In the olden days, the smoking jackets were typically made of, wool, because they'll typically, resist that burn a little bit. Some of the higher end stuff, what's his name from Playboy Mansion? Hugh Hefner.
Hugh Hefner.
He always wore velvet,
rip.
but
Rest in peace, because
Yes.
he ain't around.
velvet is probably your least burn resistant. It does kind of block out the smoke, but you drop an ash on it, it's gonna burn, it's gonna melt. But it does look cool. So the smoking jacket, it just serves one purpose, so it doesn't burn the clothes that you have on. So I don't know if there's really, outside of wearing a fireman's jacket, I don't think that you're really gonna find a nice looking jacket that's gonna be burn resistant. So I've got a couple of different ones here. One of them is an old smoking jacket from the old Meyer and Frank days. And
Wow,
You know,
way to
it's-
throw your age into there.
yeah.
Meyer
well,
and Frank. I mean, I know Meyer and Frank too, but
So if I wanted to go further, I'd say Montgomery Wards, but I don't
I
have a
used to shop at
smoking.
Montgomery Wards.
So Monkey Wards, but it's silk, and of course it will burn. I have also one that we picked up from China, and it's silk, and it will burn.
So Eric says that satin lapels are a must. You got to have the nice satin lapel. And then Ryan says Kevlar.
Yeah, Kevlar. There you go.
When in doubt,
Or your
just use Kevlar.
That's right. Get
Asbestos.
yourself a little gun lighter thingy, and or your Kevlar. Yeah, be rocking.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, just a general sports jacket, wool is probably the most resistant, at least in my experience. I haven't done any research on
But
this.
that's not something that you definitely want to dry clean that.
Well, yes. The cigar smoke doesn't typically stick to your clothes for more than a day. Even the OCA lounge here, we had 30 plus people in this room the other night,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you can't smell the smoke when you came in here.
No.
So,
I mean, as long as you have good ventilation. If you don't have good ventilation, that's a different story.
yeah. Now, typically I wear a hat to keep the smoke off my head. It doesn't matter now. I got the long
jeez.
Goldilocks, but slippers.
Yep.
Just to pair up with everything
you
else.
have
but-
the what was it? The Lions Club hat with the
Fez.
fez.
Yeah, that sole purpose of that for the United States was to keep the smoke off your head. That's what the
The more you know. I thought it literally was for looks.
actually it was, because in Egypt and in the Middle East they were caps that were created to improve the looks of the army, and then it
Okay.
really caught on, and Turkey made it their national army hat, as well as Egypt. But then the only people that could actually manufacture it was from Austria, so they had a monopoly on it. So then they had their issues with Austria, during World War I and whatnot. So Turkey and Egypt banned the making of fezes, so you could not buy them from Austria. So, and for those of you who don't know what a fez looks like,
I'll go get it.
yeah, so while he goes and gets it, the tassel really actually has no purpose at all other than just looks. So just reinforcing the fact that this was primarily made to soften the image of armies. Now, when the Shriners got a hold of it, they said, listen, we already got the smoking jackets. We need something to cover our heads to keep the smoke off our hair when we go home and our hair smells like smoke, and wives get really angry about it. So what Nick is probably wearing is the fez. So the tassel that's on there, purely decorative. Some fezes have it, some fezes don't, but it actually has no meaning. I did a lot of research when I was in Egypt on this, and I was asking people who had worn fezes. I'd asked the clothing manufacturers and everything else. Went into Turkey and sent some friends, and yeah, there's no other meaning other than to soften the look. The tassel really is just a decorative thing. So in fact, the original one didn't have a tassel.
Oh, okay. Really quick, Ryan says that when we were talking about, Meyer and Frank, Montgomery Ward, Ryan decided to divulge a little bit more info about himself than I think more people wanted to know. But he says many of his teen nights, I would argue that even currently, were spent with the Montgomery Ward catalog.
Yes, the bra section. Is that what you're talking about? The
Probably.
nightgown and bra section?
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
And then a nice.
That's probably what Dean's doing right now. He's at that Sears catalog. You know, I sent
Or
him like
Sports
a 1972.
Illustrated, knowing him.
That's too fancy for him.
But then we got a touching story. Eric's parents met while they were both working at Montgomery Ward's.
Wow. We're at the main headquarters here?
Probably, yeah. That's what I mean. I assume that's what it is, Eric's.
Yep, I worked in that building for a number of years, although Monkey Ward's was long gone by then. But yeah, it's still got the Montgomery Park sign on there in Northwest Portland.
So you've had a chance to taste the spirit. What did you get on the palate?
So on the palate, you still get that. It's almost like a barbecued pear. You get that seaweediness. It's slightly sweet, and I mean it's well balanced because there's a whole lot that's going on as I'm talking and I'm exhaling. There's just more flavors. You get that honey-dew kind of a flavor in the palate, and especially on the finish.
Yeah.
So
it says here that it's beautifully smooth and challenging to comprehend the complexity, which is basically what you said. There's a lot going on. They say that it's a flavor bomb that starts and ends with peat in a dancing way. I would agree that it makes an appearance, then it kind of goes into the background, and then it comes back. And then it comes back.
It breathes.
Yeah. And then it says oily and uplifting with a texture that reaches all parts of the palate without being overbearing, which gives it a perceived lightness.
Yeah, it's a medium-bodied spirit, but the coating on your tongue, mouthfeel, it's the entire tongue is involved because there's the saltiness, and then there's the sweetness, and then there's the hay and the honeydew. It's just all over the mouth, and then when you retrohale it, it sits in there for a while, and as you're talking, you can taste all that honeydew and sweet, and it's just a little hint of smoke.
And like it was saying, and I would almost say that the entire complexity of this drink is the flavors are dancing, not just the peatiness. I would say, sure, the peat starts first, and then you get a sweetness that comes, and then it goes in the background, and you get the saltiness, and then it goes in the background, and you get more sweet, and it says phenolic citrus and a long smoky finish. Once again, it's an incredible balanced spirit.
And it pulls some salty oiliness out of the cigar.
Okay, I haven't done the pairing yet, so while you do the talking, I'm going to do some pairing. I'm going to do spirit, then the stick.
Yeah, it's better with the spirit first, and then the stick. Once the finish is there, because I was talking for a minute or two, and then I took the spirit. But yeah, it's a slight blend, but it's an excellent blend. It's just that it pulls out a slightly different flavor, and it's a saltiness, like a seaweedy saltiness.
Yeah,
out of the
there's a seaweed saltiness, but I'm actually getting. This is probably another one of my staples. I'm actually getting graham cracker.
Yeah, you've been on the graham cracker crush here for a while.
I don't know, but I mean, it's not like a honey graham cracker. It's maybe it's not graham cracker, but it's a breadiness. It's really good.
Dean, why don't you write in and tell us what you've got? I've got Fiji apples with a 80% Hershey's cacao chocolate bar.
Oh, jeez. Ryan says that
some Pacific Sea saltiness.
Oh, so Ryan says that Dean is looking at the Sears toy catalog, and then Eric's goes, nope. His parents met at the store in Alameda. Alameda. I don't know. Ryan says, no, Dean gets off with the Hickory Farms catalog. Okay. Dave goes, Dean reads the Ice Ladies of Poland catalog.
Actually, I know what Dean's doing. I just don't want to say it because it's bad.
No, that's Ryan. But Eric goes, Ryan was all about the men's trouser section. Also, Ryan says that Eric enjoys the Seas candy catalog. To be fair, Ryan, I don't care how dirty you're trying to make that catalog. Awesome. You can get some solid deals on the freaking candies from Seas Candy, and those candies are top notch.
Those pages for me are always sticky because I'm always drooling all over them because I know I can't have them.
Oops. Dave says Dean likes Miss March for hooking the spectacled trouser snake from Lake Squeeze My Butter.
That's a mouthful.
Sorry, it's Lake Squeeze My Butter.
Squeeze milk butter.
Lake squeeze milk butter.
That's a mouthful, even for Dean.
And Dean's got a big mouth.
That's right. You know, and I'm thinking with the smokiness of the scotch and how well it blends with the cigar, I am going to pull in another whiskey.
You're going to pull in another whiskey?
I am, but we're gonna have fun with this for a little bit until we're ready to have another pour, and we got another special pour. So,
okay. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So so far, how's the pairing for you?
The pairing for me is really good. The cigar, they say it's medium. I think it's more medium to full.
I can see why they say medium though, because it's not. Now, mind you, we've only gotten through maybe the first third of it, so I'm anticipating that this stick, because we've had it before.
It is full flavored, and the strength of it, maybe medium, but there's enough here, I think, that if you prefer fuller-bodied smokes, you would still like this one because of the full flavor you get out of it. It is a very easy cigar to smoke.
I got on the retro on the Magic Toast. I actually got a little bit of a pepperness to it.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot, but enough to tickle the nose and probably make me sneeze here in a sec.
It's light pepper, not a lot.
But no, the pairing is going really well. But I would say that I can see why they say medium, because normally at least for me, when I have a full body stick or even a medium to full body stick, usually about halfway it kicks it up just an extra notch, and then you get that kind of that nicotine, the tobacco high, where you're just like, okay, this is a good stick. I'm just gonna enjoy this. Which is saying a lot because I'm a hot boxer. I don't try to be, but I am a hot boxer. Although I'm doing pretty good.
Don't say that around Dean. You got a hot box?
Ooh. There's a joke about that.
Yeah.
No, but I really like how the scotch and this cigar are going really well. What did we do the last time we did the Magic Toast? We didn't do this.
No. So we realized that Dean was not going to make it, so we took all of Dean's favorites. So the Camp 108 whiskey.
1805.
Yeah, 1805. Yeah, that's sorry. 1805. Yeah, so we took
That's
that,
right.
and they still haven't produced any more of that, and they're right here out of Hood River. And I'm waiting because that was so good. We also then pulled out some mezcal, the Pachuga.
Oh, the Pachuga.
So the Pachuga style mezcal,
Yeah.
which is also, we decided it was very, very good. So if you're really not exploring mezcals, for me it's a summertime drink, but you really should research into some mezcals, because you can get some smokiness if you like smoky, peaty things. The smokiness that you get out of the mezcals can be fantastic, especially out of the Pachuga style.
Before we go any further, what was the price point? The review said this was about $50 to $70.
Well, it's higher now. I think that review was probably written a few years ago.
Probably.
I bought this in the summertime and just kind of held it for the winter, because it's not smoky peaty. Really isn't a summer drink for me. It's tequila and mezcals in my summertime.
I'd say late summer leading into fall.
See, I like bourbons and Tennessee style whiskeys, the sour mash stuff in the fall. There's just something about the flavors with the smell of the falling leaves and everything else that just blends in.
Normally, I've seen with a lot of the whiskeys that we've had in the fall, a lot of them had that kind of like an allspice to them.
Yeah, and it just, when you're outside smoking and drinking, oh man, it's just, the whole experience is right there. We've been kind of stuck in this room. But for me, in the wintertime, a cold, wet winter day, that's when I tend to lean towards the Islay scotches.
Stuff that makes you, that gets you a little bit warmer.
Yeah. On those days in the Pacific Northwest, we have actually some sun.
That Kentucky hug, if you will.
Yeah, well, I'm regional in my wintertime drinking, because cold, wet, rainy days, it's Islay. Mm-hmm. On other days, it's still cold. I'm more of a Speyside kind of a guy.
Okay.
And I do like the lowlands, and I do like the highlands, and sometimes the highlands are summertime because it's very fruit forward. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, for me, fall and spring tends to be your American single malts, your bourbons, your sour mashes. And then wintertime, it's all about the smoky peaty. Mm-hmm. And in the summertime, it's all about tequilas and mezcals. So I tend to change. My flavor changes all the time. And of course, I'm eating different foods at different seasons as well, so that probably lends into it as well. It's just like for me, for cigars, I don't normally, reach for a cigar first thing in the morning. I'm not usually smoking cigars until after dinner. Now, if I'm on holiday, I'll smoke one in the morning, but it can't be a full-bodied stick. It can't even be a Magic Toast. That's just too much for me first thing in the morning.
You would probably do something that's like maybe a Habano wrapper, but definitely something that's got a Connecticut wrapper.
Something that's lighter. So more light tea, coffee flavors. Something that's a light to medium. By the afternoon, I kind of warm up to something a full flavored, but still a solid medium. And then in the evening time, and I'm not calling out brands here because there's no need.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's palates are different, but in general, I'm speaking just in general.
Oh, yeah.
In the evening time, after, salmon or steak or lamb or barbecue or something like that, I want something full-bodied to compete with the flavors that are left over from dinner. So that's when I usually move over to the fuller-bodied cigars.
Compete or complement?
Well, if you're smoking a light-bodied cigar after having a juicy steak or a lamb or something like that, you're halfway through the cigar, you're not going to appreciate the nuances because they're overpowered with the oils and the meats that are still in your mouth, right? So that's just me. Not everybody's that way. Some people just strictly like, this cigar, and they'll smoke that cigar all day, all night. Right? Or that style.
Right.
Mine tends to change as my body is awake or my mood. I have a advent calendar, as I've been posting on Smoking Salads in my own Facebook pages and stuff. And every day I have a different tequila and I have a different Oliva cigar, because I have an advent calendar from Oliva and one that's like a tequila thing. Normally I do like a whiskey. Last year I did Flaviar or whatever you say, and they gave you like these little flavor wheel cards. So I would put my notes that I taste without looking at the notes, and then I look at the notes, and then you taste it again and see if you can't pick out the notes, but you've only got like a little ounce and a half to do that with. And those little cards were fantastic, and you can keep them and say, yeah, I like this, I like that, I didn't like that.
If I remember correctly, that the Flavar, it also told you where it came from. I think you had something from Egypt too?
No, I guarantee it didn't. I had one from India.
Oh,
but
well, you had spirits that came from that weren't the regular places.
Right. India Amarut is a wonderful whiskey. If you like grassy.
Chris Wilson's
rainy.
on. Hey, you doing, Chris?
So we're calling you out, Chris Wilson. So it's unique.
Yeah.
They gave you a really good spread for the cost. I highly recommend Flaviar when it comes to advent calendars. I haven't really bought anything else. They gave me one that was what was it? It was a rye, and it was fantastic. So I went to the site to see if I could find it, and it was all gone. So when people find, and it was like the first or second one that I had, I was like, holy shit, this is really good for a rye, and it was gone.
Mm-hmm.
So, but on this one, we had to put a cat down on Thursday, so I opted not to do the advent calendar, but instead, grab a really good cigar to my humidor and a really good whiskey.
So we'll say here's to
Martin.
Here's to Martin, and here's also Ryan. This is for you. Here's to Lucy. Here's to all of our
all the pets we've lost in 2021. So cheers to you who've lost your fur babies.
Yep.
So it's a painful process, and I've had lots of conversations with friends and coworkers and stuff. And for me, even though the pain is a lot when you're going through it, it's still worth it, because we had 12 years with this cat, and it was a wonderful cat.
Oh, yeah.
And
I mean, you're the big scratching post. You jump up and you just shake it like an earthquake, and he was.
Oh no, that one's still alive.
Oh, Remy.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I get the two. Oh, that's right. We
They were
rarely
twins.
saw Martin.
So they looked very much alike. You can only tell because one had a smaller splotch of white on his nose. Other than that, they looked a lot alike. And for many years, Martin was the fatty. He was the sickest because they were both rescue cats, and they were both sick. So we took him in, and we spent a lot of time at the vet trying to nurse him back to health. They were almost on deathbed, especially Martin. And so he was a fat cat and didn't really want anything to do with me unless I'm by the stairwell where he wants his belly rubs, And that's where he would greet everybody, on the stairwell. And you do belly rub, and someone would say, "Your cat bit me." I was like, "Yeah, because you were belly rubbing him, weren't you?" And they'd say, "Yeah." It's like, "Yeah, well, he's not done with you rubbing his belly. So if you pull your hand away slowly, he will literally grab you and bite you to let you know that he's not done with you, and then put it back to his belly. He doesn't know how to bite gentle. And after 12 years of trying to play with a cat and teach him to bite gentle, that wasn't working. So that's just who he was.
So really quick, one thing that my neighbors had they had gotten a kitten, and the kitten had that aspect where you could rub the belly, and the cat would latch on and bite you. So I did this. I went.
Bites.
Well, I would rub her belly. Her name was Willow, and she's a fluffy cat. You give her a hug and you get lost in the fur. But you rub her belly, and when she goes to bite you, you put your fist in her mouth. You go, if you're going to bite something, you're going to bite my fist.
Yeah.
If you can't bite my fist, you understand that you can't bite me. And every once in a while, she'd go for the fist.
Yeah, you can tell when they're going to do it.
Yeah, but then over time it then became the hind legs to try to kick your hand away. You're like, no, I know you wanted me to keep going, and so, but yeah, no, I always like anytime
that's their playfulness, right?
Yeah.
So they're enjoying it, and they kick with their hind legs. So this one, stairwell was a popular thing. I don't know what happened when we picked him up. They either chased him down or something, but he did not like clomping feet. So he always ran away from me when I was upright.
Right.
But if I'm laying in bed, he'd lay next to me, and of course he wants the belly rubs. Now, that's a game of who's going to fall asleep first. Do I lull him to sleep, or do I fall asleep while rubbing his belly, and then you get the bite?
Good night, Martin. Ow!
I was like,
ow! Son of a bitch!
So yeah, so he was a lovely cat, and as he had hyperthyroidism, and that's what did him in. But when he lost his weight, all of a sudden he became a kitten. He was out killing mice and birds and whatever. He caught a squirrel. He caught a hummingbird. And yeah, it was like every day. He's just all over the place. So, they're getting sicker, and you watch them losing their weight. And hyperthyroidism he went from 17 pounds down to 6.5 by the time we put him down. And so we had to watch this, which was sad, but he's still walking around with a little question mark curly tail, very happy and very chatty. The last year, man, he was just meow, 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 meow. He wouldn't shut up.
Meow.
So, oh yeah, all the time. So it was hard because he really got super affectionate in the last year. And doesn't matter that the 11 years before that he wasn't affectionate with me at all. It's that last year that
what you remember.
Bring the tears to your eyes as you put him down.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to tell this really quick, and then we're going to get away from the sad stuff. My sad story was that, when I was 12, my mom had to put down my dog that I had known since I was born. But her name was Shadow, and anytime you were outside in the sunshine, she would just start barking at shadows. That's why we called her Shadow. But we had to put her down because she had cancer, she had thyroid problems, she had digestive problems. She had everything wrong that a dog could have, and she was 14. She was my best friend, and then literally 6 hours before I left for India for a month, my grandmother walks in and goes, "I had to put down Shadow." I'm like, all right. And then I just went off on my grandmother. I'm a 12-year-old, and I'm throwing out every cuss word that I can think of. I'm making up cuss words.
That's your first experience with death at that
point.
point.
Yeah, no, it was. Oh man, it was hard. But no, like losing a family member, be it 2 legs or 4 legs, it's tough. But eventually you just remember the good times, and then you're able to move forward from that.
You got all those years of memories and stories versus 1 day, 1 week of sorrow. It's worth it.
Oh, it's absolutely worth it. So I wanted to talk about, you and I were throwing back at ideas because we had an idea for the show tonight, but obviously because Dickhead isn't here, we can't do it. But
I still kicked your guys' ass in bowling.
No. Let's be real.
I now have the videos to prove it, folks, and we're gonna look at those next week.
I remember it much differently. And if I'm being honest, Dave is the one that kicked all of our asses. Although, Dave, you have a weird throw. It worked. I mean, I don't know if you watched Dave, but his ball would go. He would start on the left, throw it. It would go all the way to the right, like kiss the gutter, and then go all the way to the front pin, but hit the left side of the front pin.
You know, I'll grant you that my first couple throws, as I was getting used to the weird ball that I had, and I switched balls and I did better. And I was throwing multiple strikes in a row.
Well, okay, so
strike after strike.
The
after
one
strike.
game that you do have some bragging ground for was, I think it was the first or second game. You were bowling, I would say, mediocre. You were bowling like the average person that goes to the bowling alley, and then
until the end of the game.
And then Chris goes, John, you know you can do better. And you're like, oh, okay, 10th frame. He goes, all right, cool. Strike, 9 pins. It was like, what the hell, John? Jeez.
I was just toying with you.
Jeez.
So we'll watch a little bit of that next week. We were going to watch it this week, but
since we're not doing that, I do have a question for you. And this, I don't know if you actually how much you dive into this, but we're in the holiday times, and you know, a big tradition for a lot of people is to watch Christmas movies.
Yep.
What are your, I won't say tops anything. I'll say, what are your go-to Christmas movies?
For me, without my wife, Chris, it's all the old cartoon ones. Frosty,
The claymation
Rudolph.
ones.
Yeah. They're not even. Yeah, Die Hard. No, Die Hard for me isn't really. It is Christmas, but it's not.
I would argue that Die Hard 2 is more Christmassy than Die Hard.
But okay, so a movie I have to watch every year, regardless, is Christmas Vacation. That's got to kick it off for me.
Yep.
I like Santa Claus 1, 2, and 3. I like all of them. Third one, not so much. The first two, though, are great.
Tim Allen made that movie. Tim Allen definitely made that movie.
Absolutely. But I would say at the top of the list, though, is Christmas Vacation and then Elf. Elf, for me, just cracks me up. And
I can't get behind Elf. Like
Really?
I don't know if it's just because it's so over the top Christmas. Like there's sappy Christmas and then there's over the top Christmas and you got everything in between.
But you know, I can't think of a Christmas movie with John C. Reilly, but he should get himself in one because
John C. Reilly would be good.
Yeah. But yeah, those are my top two, and then you know the Santa Claus. Chris likes to watch what's that romantic one? There's 4 different stories going on.
Love Actually.
Yeah, and actually that's not bad.
I love that movie because
there's a lot of funny parts in there.
There's a lot, especially like if you haven't seen it, there's nothing to spoil about this movie. But like you have the scene where the kids that are in college, they walk up into a house and the guy's got a backpack full of condoms, and all of a sudden you see the silhouette of him with all these girls, and then there's the boy and girl who end up dating at the end of the movie, but they met
the young kids.
But they met on a porn they were filming a porn.
That couple. Yeah, they were making a porn.
Yeah. That's a great movie. Also, not to mention that's probably one of my favorite Alan Rickman movies. And for those that don't know, Alan Rickman was Professor Snape in the Harry Potter films.
And he also was in Die Hard. He was the bad guy. That guy was such a versatile actor. And rolling into that, the English actor on the movie we were just talking about,
Love Actually.
What's his name? He always plays the same smug British a-hole. It's not nice to anybody. He was the prime minister. That actor. What the hell's his name? Audience, help me out here. But I don't like movies with him in it because he always plays the same.
Okay, Hugh Grant.
Yes, not a big Hugh Grant fan. That's just me. I'm also not a Jean-Claude Van Damme fan. Now, his first 2 movies, awesome. But then every movie after that, he's the same character over and over and over and over again. Same thing with Steven Seagal, right? And you kind of get bored of the character.
But mind you, Steven Seagal, the reason why he went the way he did was because he wanted to make martial art movies with an American. Martial art movies had been revolutionized by Bruce Lee, and then Jet Li kind of took it over, and then Jackie Chan changed it by making them funny.
I disagree.
Steven
You're completely ignoring Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris was taught by Bruce Lee.
No, he was not taught
yes,
by
he
Bruce
was.
Lee. No, he was not.
In the movie, I believe it's either Return of the Dragon or Enter the Dragon when it's Chuck Norris's versus Bruce Lee.
Yeah, that was Return of the Dragon.
Okay.
And he met him at a tournament and brought him into the movies.
So that fight scene where Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris have it, Bruce Lee didn't. They had done the whole choreographing thing. The only thing in that entire fight scene that stayed in the movie that hadn't been part of their original choreography was Bruce Lee ripping off Chuck Norris's chest hair. That actually happened. And Bruce Lee, in a later interview, said that the reason why he did that was because he wanted Chuck to be real about the fight.
Listen, I mean, Bruce Lee, absolutely. He brought Chuck Norris into the movie acting, but he didn't train him. And Bruce Lee didn't really do that many kung fu movies. Okay, so you're right. I'm siding with you now. Chuck Norris, love him as an actor. He always plays different characters, and he always does a fantastic job. And he's got that whole, Chuck Norris would have kicked COVID's ass by now. I mean,
oh yeah,
that's your vaccination right there.
Superman, like kids wear Superman pajamas. Superman wears Chuck Norris pajamas.
Right. So he's just such a great actor, and just he just seems like a generally super nice guy.
Yeah.
But all right, are we ready for the?
Well, I was gonna. So while you get the new one, I was gonna tell you mine. So my go-to Christmas movies is always starts with The Holiday Inn. That stars Fred Astaire and Bing Crosby, and it's black and white. I love this movie.
You're going old history. That is a good movie.
The reason why I love it is because that movie, within the movie, there's a quote unquote movie being filmed within that movie. The movie that was being filmed is the inspiration to Bing Crosby's biggest Christmas movie, White Christmas. So I always do Holiday Inn followed right after with White Christmas. And it's a great, and if you haven't done that combo, highly recommend it because White Christmas debuted in The Holiday Inn. And then he sang it in White Christmas.
What do you think about It's a Wonderful Life?
So one of my friends.
For me, it's me.
No, well, so one of my friends said one of my friends said this, and I can almost not think of it any other way. I personally love the film. Every time a bell jingles, an angel gets its wings. I love that line. Great movie. However,
my wife loves it. I'm like, meh.
However, my friend did say it is the longest but greatest Macy's commercial ever created.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, I can see that.
I don't know. I just, for some reason.
No, Miracle on 30. Yeah,
yes. That's definitely a Macy's movie. And I'm not a big on that one either.
No,
Miracle on 34th, if you guys didn't hear.
Black and white. So I've got Holiday Inn, White Christmas, black and white, Miracle on 34th Street, not the refurbished, let's add color to a black and white film. The original Christmas Carol.
Yes,
love
that's
that
a
film.
good movie.
Muppets Christmas Carol is a fantastic movie. And then the original Santa Claus.
Oh, Scrooged. Talking about Christmas Carol. Love Scrooged.
Scrooged. Yeah. Also, my wife and I actually watched it over the weekend. If you haven't seen it, Disney did actually a really good animated Christmas Carol. Jim Carrey is the voice of Scrooge.
It was just on.
That
I kind of fell asleep because it was the day after the party,
which is okay, which is rightfully so.
But they actually followed really close to the book. A lot of the same lines that are in the book and everything else. So
Jim Carrey played multiple characters in that film.
Yeah, he did. He did a really good job. And I got to watch it again because I fell asleep. And it's like I saw bits and pieces of the ghosts and stuff, and I was like, God! And it's like I was really into it.
The thing that I loved about that film, though, is the fact that the people that did the animation based the characters on the actual physical appearance of the people doing the voices. So Scrooge was a makeup of Jim Carrey doing a face.
If you didn't tell me that was Jim Carrey, I never would have guessed that voiceover was Jim Carrey. Yeah. That was an interesting take for him.
Yeah, he did. Well, the reason why, and if you think about it though, because Jim Carrey also did probably my favorite Grinch. Like How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the live action.
I would say
Jim Carrey was.
So there's three versions, right? There's the Jim Carrey and there's two animated versions.
There's the original animated.
Right, which
then it came to Jim Carrey live action, yep. And then there's another one from DreamWorks.
Right, and that one is also really good.
That one has pentatonics in it, which is kind of cool for me as a musical person.
So yeah, that one I like in order. I think I would still prefer the old one than the second one that came out from DreamWorks, and then the Jim Carrey one. I mean, they're all right there, though. They're all really good movies.
Yeah.
I mean, The Grinch, come on. I mean, it's a great story.
It's a classic story, yeah.
A lot of fun, and, Jim Carrey being a goofball that he is, fucking perfect role for him.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's like, The Mask and then that. Because The Mask, he got to do whatever he wanted, and that's one of my favorites. Not a Christmas movie, but still.
Eric says that Miracle on 34th Street is the world's longest Macy's commercial. He's right. Right. Now they're starting to throw Chuck Norris jokes into this. Ryan says Chuck Norris can slam a revolving door, which is true. Chuck Norris once ate a Rubik's Cube and pooped it out solved. Dave says Chuck Norris knows Jiffy Jeff hangs under the mistletoe waiting for Dean's embrace. Ryan said if you ever work in an office with Chuck Norris, never ask for a 3-hole punch. One of my favorite ones is that when Chuck Norris does a push-up, he doesn't push himself up; he pushes the world down.
Yeah.
I have some pretty bad. I have some pretty bad Chuck Norris ones that I'll save for a later time. But,
Why?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
One is. You know what? We'll see how Facebook deals with these ones.
Yeah. Let's.
So one is when Superman crushes coal, he makes diamonds. When Chuck Norris crushes coal, he makes African children that work in his diamond mines. Chuck Norris once had sex in an 18-wheeler, and his sperm got into the wheel axle. We now know that 18-wheeler as Optimus Prime.
That's a good one. Come on.
We know it as Optimus Prime.
That's not Facebook less material. The first one.
The first one.
It's a little racist.
The first one's bro.
Yeah.
So what are we surprising ourselves with?
All right. So I found this bottle under my bar after the party. I know where it came from, and sorry, he's not here to stop us. So it's Smoke Wagon.
Thanks, Dean.
So thanks, Dean, for your donation of Smoke Wagon for the night, because that's what we're drinking. And I don't think Dean's watching because he's, too busy looking at farmers.com, looking at all the lovely farm animals and expending his energy there.
Thank you, sir. My wife texted me.
That's Dean calling me right now. Don't drink my Smoke Wagon. It is Dean calling me right now.
It is Dean.
Let's put him on speakerphone. Dean, hold on. I'm going to put you on speakerphone, dude. Hey.
I was like, holy shit, don't you dare drink my whiskey, man.
We are.
Last fist for me and you.
It's too late. It's me and Nick
Hey,
now.
cheers,
Dean. Cheers, Dean. Thanks.
Thanks, Dean.
Woo!
Man, this,
Awesome.
I don't know if this bottle is going to last. This smoke wagon
Yeah,
might be gone.
you need, because there's no more once that's gone.
Oh, that's too bad. You're going to miss out.
Oops.
I left it back behind your bar because I didn't want anybody to screw with it.
Well, you discounted the fact that I would use this on the show when you're not here.
And if I remember correctly, John had to get us back for when we rampaged his bar. So,
That's right.
So
Yeah, sure.
since I have nothing in that bar that is of value.
We'll leave you a drop. We'll leave you a drop or two.
A drop or two, huh? All right.
So
I saw that ball, I'm like, that better not be my fucking smoke wagon.
So why is it that you're gone again?
Because
Oh, I'm sorry. You dropped off.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Oh, that was glorious.
Oh, he's calling me back.
Don't answer.
I'm sorry. My phone has really bad reception, Dean.
Sorry about that, buddy. Man, this smoke wagon, actually, you know what? I want to try it. I'm going to pair it with this Magic Toast. I'm going to see how this goes.
Okay, so Smoke Wagon, I think we've had it on the show before. Mm-hmm. And it's something that's really hard to get. And I know it's just driving Dean crazy right now. Very smoky. It is a Kentucky bourbon. And I don't know the details about it. And, you know, I know
Whoa.
Dean is driving you crazy because you know all the details about it. And we don't care.
No, here's the details. It comes in a tall, kind of see-through but rather opaque bottle.
Yeah.
It's
brown.
It's dark brown. It's
From Kentucky.
It's from Kentucky. It's
A
probably
little
worth
smokiness to it.
It's probably worth $10. So it's it's hard to find, but it's probably worth $10.
You can probably find it next to the Mad Dog 2020s.
But I bet you Mad Dog 2020 sells more often than that does. That's all, folks. That's all, folks. Good Lord.
So a different kind of smokiness.
Mm-hmm.
It is a more of a fire, like a campfire smokiness.
Yes, I would agree.
And not so much of a peat smoke. So it's rougher. I like to say the word rougher to describe Kentucky sour mashes and the charcoaly kind of a. I like those kinds of flavors because
When you
they
compare
offer
the
a lot
when you
more.
do a combination of the two,
Yeah.
you actually get a charcoal kind of essence. You know how how sometimes in a charcoal grill.
Charcoal.
Well, you know how like in a charcoal grill you can usually smell the charcoal smoke.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what I'm getting between the two. It's not a lot, but it's a little bit. But it's like, oh, okay, this would be.
Little Boy Scout.
I would say that this would be great for a summertime barbecue, or a camp barbecue. Like when you and Dean went camping, I think this would have been.
So the cigar pairing with the smoke wagon, I get some smoky maple flavors.
I was too.
Yeah.
Not as probably as much. It didn't come to me. but
It's not as interesting and complex as pairing it with a Caol Ila, but still very good. I think we've gotten spoiled with a Caol Ila.
yeah, we did. I mean, you know what? Here's a question, and maybe the audience can help with this one. Let's say you do a flight, okay? Usually in breweries and distilleries, they have recommended flights, and they usually put them in an order that they want you to drink it. For instance, me and a bunch of my friends, we went down to Bend and we stopped at 10 Barrel. Okay, they gave us a flight. We started with like the Hefeweizen, like the Hef, like the very light beers, then kind of worked our way into the IPAs, then got to the stouts, and then we got to the sours and ciders. And it was kind of to let your palate evolve. Whereas they recommended if you went with the sour or the cider right off the bat, your palate was screwed.
Yeah.
So, my question to you and to the audience, if anybody has good enough knowledge, is if you were to do a flight of spirits, bourbons, whiskeys, scotches, what have you, what would you start with, and what would you end with, and how would you work your way to those?
I think we're gonna have to take that conversation next week
All right.
because we're at the top of the hour.
We are at the top of the hour.
1 hour went by really fast.
Yeah, it did.
Time flies when we're having fun without Dickless. I mean Dean.
I guess.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
wow, it is 8 o'clock. Well, here's the question: does the audience want us to keep going, or should we cut it short? Because,
Yeah, give him one or more. So we got some smoke wagon to drink with the guests that are here tonight.
oh, that's true. I guess Dean, your smoke wagon's not gonna last.
So yeah. So
Say goodnight, Dean.
with that, everybody, thank you for sticking around. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sharing.
And
thanks
enjoy
for communicating and enjoy
smoking salads.
Good night, everybody.
Woo. This is good. This smoke wagon. Let me tell you. You know what? I think I'm just gonna take this bottle. I'm just gonna put it over here.
I'm a cigar man. I'm a cigar man.